getting behind the churches is really the point here. The federal government is doing what it can. FEMA is stretched beyond belief. But what we are finding over and over and over again is leading this charge are the churches, the faith-based community. That's where all this help is going to come from. And as we heard just moments ago in a briefing meeting, the truth is it's the church that's going to be the ones that get in here for the long haul, and that's what we need right now.
Red Cross said they had enough volunteers for 3 months. They had a big drive. The third week, they're down to about 35% of what they had. And because that's the reality. And usually it's the Christians in the faith-based community are the ones that will do the long haul.
But the other thing is we got a lot of workers that are staging in this area, and as they're staging, they're not being fed, believe it or not.
Oh, that's totally true.
Yeah, and what I have been doing is...
State troopers yesterday, we were having goods, we were feeding them.
Well, what I've been doing is I've got that little red Nissan pickup truck out there, and I'll throw a bunch of water and MREs in the back, and I'll come rolling up, and they're all gone within 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Because they're not being fed. And this morning I went out, there was a group of laborers, and there was probably 30 laborers sitting down there that hadn't eaten in almost 2 days.
Yeah.
So, because they've been waiting for a crew truck to pick them up. So.
Before Katrina, Somebody Cares Southeast Texas, which our main information center was over at the other church. And there are churches from Kirbyville, Jasper County, all the way down 69 here, the Golden Triangle. Mm-hmm. We're all working together and started Somebody Cares Southeast Texas. So they already had a network, and this is North Church, pastored by Sam Walker. The church sanctuary and all the church stuff is in there, and they were going to build this out later, but they said, well, let's just use this now for warehousing space. And what they did on this side over here was where they actually had it down. They had the racks, they had stuff up. It was really thousands of hours, National Guard, Army, volunteers, church people really worked on getting it all set up. So it was like where they could actually walk through and get everything they needed.
That's great.
For individual families.
Right.
On the other side was things we would bring in, like breads and waters and juices. And then what we ended up doing is using it for also Katrina. So we drop things off and use it for Katrina evacuees and so on in the whole area. And obviously you see what happened at the doors. So we had to salvage what we could out. And we're going to have a work crew come in, hopefully, this weekend to start at least starting to clear through all this stuff. We want to try to clean everything up in the whole area because when a lot of it, Beaumont, you know, their people have not been allowed back.
Sure.
When they start coming back, they're going to come back to a mess in their own homes already.
Right.
Then they'd like to at least see their church. Yeah. You know, and the lady, Wanda was sharing, it was just tears the other day, how many volunteers had actually spent thousands of hours of helping here, and how all of a sudden this is, you know, what it looks like. So.
Well, we brought, I know right now we're at about 46 to 50 trucks that we brought into the area, and then just dispersing it out and getting it to the hands that need it the most, and just taking a model and running with it for bringing cars in and loading them up with food relief items and then ice and water as FEMA's giving it out, and very slowly. But just
so the early
being,
responder really is the church, isn't it?
Yeah, it was, without a doubt. I mean, we were the first ones there, and Sunday morning, and we gave away a semi and a half away that morning, and just to people that needed it. And then we just started putting in a system and working with Randy at Triumph Church. Just awesome, a lot of heart there. And then he's trying to branch out and go into several different areas, and as it opens up, but it comes down to, you know, we need help from other areas, and Somebody Cares, and just coming together, and it's the whole thing of alliances, I believe, and coming together for a common cause to help the poor, the needy, and that's what we're here for.
The very first day we had an 18-wheeler come in. Doug sent us an 18-wheeler from Houston, and we pulled over on Highway 69 about 60 miles north of Beaumont at a little Baptist church called Village Mills Baptist Church. And we had stuff on the 18-wheeler, and the people started coming out of the woods, barefooted, and were crying, and they hadn't had any water for 3 days, no food for 3 days, nothing, you know. So, I mean, they were desperate.
Said, well, how about us getting a food distribution going there? And Convoy of Hope is our disaster relief through the Assemblies of God. So they brought in an 18-wheeler full of food this morning. And then Somebody Cares America and another group came in to help to distribute that food, and we'll do that for the next several days until it's all gone.
My name is BRYAN Dixon, and I'm from SILSBEE, Texas. And I just want to say that everybody's been real good to us. We have received water, food, ice. They've been real good to us. And we want to just thank the Lord for our health and strength and being here another day.
FEMA has already been in wondering why aren't we here in SILSBEE? And I said, well, right now there's no city leaders in SILSBEE. I said, they all evacuated, and according to everything you hear on the television and radio, you can't get back in here. And I said, you guys have to be requested to come in. Red Cross came by and they said, why aren't we in SILSBEE? And I told them the same story, so they took down specific needs of items that our people in the community need to be distributed, and they promised me help, that they would get me like baby formula and diapers and some feminine products and this kind of thing.
What I think we've been hearing over and over and over is that, you know, we're not saying that Red Cross and FEMA are not doing their job. It's just that they weren't equipped to be the rapid responders as local churches are already in place and know their communities.
Right.
And that's the gap we got to see filled, is that whereas they can come in as the process starts at phase 2 of recovery and regrouping onto rebuilding, they're great at that, but the church itself, on ground, we're finding in communities all over, are the ones that were the initial responders to crisis relief, and that's what we need to bridge that gap.
Things have been going great. We pushing out a lot of food, probably about 120 vehicles an hour. So I think yesterday's total was about 8,000 meals, so we're doing pretty good. Because there's about 5 organizations right now that are working together to get all this food and supplies to these people out here.
We've had some great cooperation with the city here. The judge is over here. We've got some inmates who've been helping us. One guy has just been doing an awesome job. He's a cook, and I just asked him if we can have him dedicated to help us cook for the next few days. Just been busting our butts, working. Just doing a great job.
I'm going to go to my house and to the church in Wildwood and get some of those cots and bring them back to them because they've been sleeping on the ground.
Right.
So I'll be back there tonight here too.
Susan, we literally need daily volunteers. He needs in the morning by 10:30 at least 7 to 10 volunteers. So we're going to try to round some up as well, but every day during lunch and dinner, they need at least 7 to 10 volunteers.
Are we still going to funnel them through you?
On that one, yeah, when they call, we'll direct them, it's fine.
Okay.
For this particular site, Operation Blessing Somebody Cares has a great national partnership, international partnership, and we actually have the Operation Blessing Outreach Center for the region. So if we can get people to help Operation Blessing and Somebody Cares Southeast Texas in this area, ASAP would be great.
With Somebody Cares America and Somebody Cares Southeast Texas. And what they are doing is they are feeding the people of this area hot meals twice a day. There's actually a mobile kitchen that they move in on the back of a semi-truck. It's amazing because for a lot of these people, it's the only time they're getting any hot food at all. It's amazing. I mean, if you sit and you concentrate on the devastation, I mean, you're driving down the road, it's unbelievable what you see. At first you think, how can they be without power for this long? And then you start to look and you understand that it's not just for this long, it's going to be for weeks and weeks ahead. But the really neat thing is if you don't concentrate on that, if instead you concentrate on the people that are making a difference, it is an amazing thing to see. The church has stepped up over and over and over again. And you know what? The government's doing the best they can, but they're not made to hit the ground running like the church is, because the church is already here. And to be able to see the church do that, without question, without hesitation, to see the church being Christ's hands and feet, I'm telling you what, I'm excited. It's sad to see what's happened here, but it's amazing to see that the church is going to make the difference.
But I pray right now that you would give it abounding grace, a double portion of grace over Dennis, God, as he's trying to juggle so much here right now.
Yes, Lord.
Father, I pray for, Father, for fresh anointing Lord.
I pray for tangible presence of the Holy Spirit.
Yes, Lord.
I pray that even now there will be a compelling of people who want to come to help us, Lord.
Yes, Lord.
Here in Coons, in Silsbee, in Wildwood, in Kirbyville, in Jasper,
Yes, Lord.
Beaumont, Orange, Ryder, in all these regions where we need help.
Yes,
And I
Lord.
pray that they would come. They would come with a servant's heart, Lord.
Yes,
They
Lord.
come to truly be self-contained, to serve you by serving those who are here on the front lines.